Hello, welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the top 10 busts for this season on PvPoke. Basically, those 10 Pokemon we're going to take a look at here are going to be the best based on what we know so far for the next season that got buffed for the season. So yeah, if you enjoy those type of videos, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. But how do we know that? Actually, PvPoke just posted 2 pictures of the new meta on Twitter to showcase on how the new meta are going to look like, and we're going to take a look at this right now. Here we're gonna see basically the entire first 48 Pokemon that are going to be top tier for the Open Great League, which is really cool to see. So thanks again for PvPoke as well for posting it, for all the work they do as well. So definitely shout out to them. Always going to be a link in the description, no matter which video you want to look at. Here we're gonna see here already number one rank 1 spot is going to be Clodsire. Clodsire going to get buffed with Poison Sting, but also just the meta around it is going to be very good for Clodsire. Carbink, number 2 spot, Roxite getting nerfed. That's why also mainly I think Roxite got nerfed, is mainly because of Carbink. We're going to have Clefable at the number 3 spot, now running Swift, and also Fairy Wind got buffed. We're going to have the Feraligatr still there around. Jumpluff, actually number 7, being basically the second best flying type Pokemon right now to go for, with Fairy Wind buff as well. Going to be very cool. Lickilicky at number 8, having a Rollout is very interesting. Marowak having Fire Spin buff plus Bone Club buff on number 9. We have Dunsparce, we're going to have Gastrodon, we're going to have another Jumpluff, we're going to have a Marowak, we're going to have Bastion, which is also getting nerfed here with a Smackdown, but still being at rank 15 is kind of interesting. You're going to have the Machamp, which I said as well in the video before, which you're going to take a look at here today as well. That this Pokemon is going to be very strong and most likely the best fighting type Pokemon for this meta. Going to be Machamp here with Karate Chop, so that's going to be an interesting one. You're going to have the Weezing. Having access to Fairy Wind is going to be very cool for this one, as it got buffed as well as Brutal Swing. Dusknoir is kind of similar to what you would see for Giratina Origin in this kind of meta. We have a triple ghost type moveset, but apparently that's the best way to play this one. Toxapex, interestingly enough, very high up without any kind of buff. Drapion got buffed with Poison Sting. Alolan Marowak again there. We have the Mudshot Quagsire still at rank 22, I guess because it has a lot of play against the current top meta Pokemon. Rodriguez at rank 23. Golurk, rank 24, which I would have never imagined to have Golurk in the top 25 Pokemon. That is quite ridiculous. Aurorus somehow at rank 27, which I did not see at all before that. Definitely one of more the hidden buffs, I guess. We have Pangoro at 30. We have the 31st one here is going to be the Whimsicott. We're going to have Quillfish at 33. We're going to have Florges actually with Fairy Wind buff as well on 35. With a pure fairy type moveset. And then we're going to have some more just standard Pokemon until we have like Driftbloom Lydon at 43, which is interesting. Alone Sandslash might even be very good depending on how they're going to do Metal Claw as well, but already definitely worth it. And then at the end here, the Galarian Moltres getting a little bit of a buff with Sucker Punch. So let's take a look a little bit at the top 10 buffed Pokemon for this season and see how they compare to the last season. Moving on with Clodsire is going to be the first one here, the new number 1 spot on PvPoke. Going to get the Poison Sting buff, and this is going to impact it quite a bit, as you're going to see here right now as well. This Pokemon is going to be able to gain quite a lot of average rating, 50 average rating. Again, those stats itself are still against the old meta with all the buffs and nerfs in place. This is a thing where I kind of want to wait for most of those videos towards like the updates for tomorrow when PvPoke releases the new kind of version for the new meta, because it's going to allow us to just kind of show a little bit more how the Pokemon actually compare to the new meta. This is against the old meta. The old meta is kind of dead, as you just saw there as well, completely rewritten, but against the current Pokemon, Clodsire is going to win it quite a lot. Not as much though as the second Pokemon here. Clefable, I think being at number 3 now, is going to be insane. Having the Swift buff, having the Fairy Wind buff, is just making this Pokemon an insane Pokemon. As you're gonna see here right now, beforehand running Meteor Mash instead of Swift, getting only up to a 483 rating, which is already kind of solid, but now with the Fairy Wind buff plus the Swift buff, this thing is insane. Like, this thing is ridiculous. 611 average rating, being able to beat nearly everything. Can't wait to see on how we gonna kind of see on how many Clefables you're gonna see in the future. I would imagine this is going to be the Pokemon that is going to dominate the play Pokemon format as well, as Clefable just seems too good to be true at this point. This Pokemon looks like a very, very big meta threat, and yeah, definitely still counterable though. Like any kind of Steel-type Pokemon is going to completely hard-wall it. Any kind of Poison-type Pokemon is basically able to completely hard-wall it. So it's not that this Pokemon is unbeatable, it is just very strong, and that's all. And we can move on now to the next one. Jumpluff, you might not really expect that this Pokemon would be that high up, but again, all of the Flying-type Pokemon got nerfed, which means you need Flying-type Pokemon in the meta in general to be kind of good against a lot of other kind of stuff. But also, you kind of get rid of the answer of Jumpluff. Jumpluff being weak, usually 2 Flying-type Pokemon, making this Pokemon now a very cool one to use for the upcoming season, getting a plus 100 average rating against the current meta again. Again, it's going to be a little different than when PvPoke updates their website, but this Pokemon is definitely going to get a huge buff for the new season, being able to beat also a lot of the current Pokemon, but I would imagine also a lot of the new Pokemon coming up as well. Lickilicky is going to be the cheap Lickitung, and honestly, I feel like this is kind of the one that I feel like is a little bit sad, because yeah, you have a rollout buff here, you're going to have the Body Slam nerf, but you have basically now a straight up better Lickitung that doesn't need any extra candy. And that is kind of sad for all the people, like including myself, who built a Lickitung, extra Lickitung. Like, as long as Lickilicky is like this, there's no reason to run Lickitung anymore. Unless you want to run them both together, which I don't think you really need to. Like, Lickilicky is just way better. Like, it's just straight up way better than Lickitung nowadays. Has great coverage, Shadow Ball, having Body Slam. Body Slam is a legacy move, by the way, on this Pokemon. So, yeah, have a legacy charge move for that available, like what's called the Elite Term there. But yeah, definitely be careful about this. But Lickilicky going to be just the better Lickitung nowadays. Then we're going to have Alolan Marowak. Actually, I think at rank number 9 is quite ridiculous, but you have a double buff here with Fire Spin as well as Bone Club, so like I guess it's kind of what you could expect for it as well. You're going to see as well that this Pokemon is going to have a great time here, getting a very nice buff. Very decent right now, but I think it's going to be especially great against the current meta that we have, as it's going to be able to completely hardwall Clefable, as well as you're going to be able to completely destroy a lot of the other new Pokemon, like something like a Jumpluff doesn't really want to face you. So this thing is going to be insanely good. Can't wait to use it. Very cool that Marowak finally kinda can shine. Anyway, next Pokemon going to be Dunsparce here. Dunsparce is going to be one of the Pokemon that can shine now as well. Having access to the rollout buff going to be very crucial. Sadly, we're going to have a Rock-Slide nerf, which actually doesn't really matter too much on this Pokemon, because what it only really does here is getting a more fast move pressure with this thing, and allowing you to kind of negate the Rock-Slide nerf by having more of the rollout damage output anyway. So at the end of the day, you will not really see it in terms of damage output against like even flying type Pokemon. But of course, and just in neutral matchups, or even something like Drill Run is just neutral and a better move anyway, this Pokemon is going to be insane. Drill Run on this thing is going to be kind of crazy, and Rollout Dunsparce is going to be very strong. And also, what is going to be interesting, I might actually take a look at the Pokemon that are currently lurking in the game code that are not released yet, and see how the new move update is going to impact them, because there are quite a lot of them as well, like the Dunsparce, the evolution of it, which would have access to Rollout, but also Corviknight got basically a little bit of a nerf. They were Steel Wings, so yeah, there are quite some Pokemon that are going to be a little bit different now, so we're going to take a look at this most likely as well very soon. There are actually a lot of Pokemon. There were like videos I did already about like new Pokemon that will be very good in the future, and a lot of them actually very likely going to be a little bit nerfed now, so that's going to be an interesting video for the future for sure. Gastrodon is also now insanely high up now, getting the much left buff, but also getting a Body Slam nerf, which kind of surprised me that this Pokemon is that much higher up than I expected, because at the end of the day, yeah, this Pokemon is going to get a bit of a nerf with the Body Slam, but I guess just much step buff itself is just going to make this Pokemon so insanely strong already. Here we see it already, getting so many more wins, having just so many better matchups just because of the timing as well, getting now much step up so fast that you can go for a Body Slam after I think 4 of them, and then for the next one only after 3 Mud Steps, which makes it a crazy good pacing for Gastrodon, and definitely a very strong Pokemon with a lot of fast move pressure as well. Marowak next is going to definitely appreciate the recent buff of the Mudslap as well. We're going to help this Pokemon out quite a bit, but not only this, we're also going to have the Rock-Slide nerf, but also we're going to have the Bone Club buff as well, which I forgot to put into this one, but it doesn't really matter because it's still in the rankings here. What we will see is it gains plus 100 average rating, but there are quite a lot of matchups that he cannot really win, but it's still going to be a very interesting Pokemon, because it's definitely one of the hardest answers now to the Clodsire, and so it's definitely going to have a lot of play. Can't wait to try it out. I have a very cool shiny shadow Pokemon of this one already built, so this Pokemon definitely gonna, yeah, be featured on my channel for sure. And honestly, like, I'm even excited for all of the old metas that we had before, already, like something like a Halloween Cup or something like this, because everything going to be different now, and it's going to be quite exciting. So yeah, I can't wait for this, but let's move on to the next one. Going to be Machamp. Machamp is going to have access to the Karate Chop there. Of course, Cross Chop buff was last season as well. Here, back in the day now, like basically this season, you would run Rock Slide. Don't run Rock Slide anymore. Stone Edge is clearly better now, especially with Karate Chop being a move that's going to generate energy way faster. There was like one thing that they said on the stream, which I don't know if it was just a mistake or not. They said it might actually do as much energy generation as a Registeel does, which I don't think they're actually gonna do. I think it was just most likely a mistake by one of the commentators. But if it would be like a Registeel, Karate Chop would be even stronger, would make this Pokemon even stronger, which I doubt it will be. So very likely just going to be like the one buff, which I also showcased already in the video before. But yeah, Machamp for sure something that you need to build for the new season. Weezing is going to be the final one for today here. We're going to have Weezing with Fairy Wind buff and also the Brutal Swing buff being one of the strongest new Pokemon as well for the meta, being a great typing. Like being Poison and Fairy is going to be very much unique, but also going to allow you to have a lot of very positive matchups against something even like a Clefable, so that's going to be kind of cool for you. Play Rough still being Stab, Brutal Swing being a great coverage move against Pokemon like Ghost type Pokemon, which is going to be a little bit more common, and then Fairy Wind getting a buff as well is going to be lovely. So this Pokemon is going to be insanely strong for sure, especially against the current, like the new meta that's coming up. Can't wait to try it out. And that's gonna be it for this video. Let me know in the comment section what you think about all of the changes here. There are a lot of changes coming up, and of course here again we have a lot of changes as well for the new season with the PvPoke changes that we see here right now. Basically the entire meta completely is different now. Only really there is now, I guess, Carbink, Manibus, Feraligatr, and yeah, Azumarill, and that's maybe Bastion as well. Like those are like the only Pokemon that are really high up before as well, still there. The rest completely shifted, which is really cool. I can't wait to try out the new season as well. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then.